In the top right-hand side is going to be our blue Protoss player. Kicking off this best of 5 from Sidestone Gaming is MaxPax. Bottom left, our red Terran player is going to be QUARTERFINALS. In the red, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. See how this best of 5 will go. Was the last time you saw Altitude that Ryung Classic series? Or was it the PvP? No, it was Ryung Classic. I saw a fun game on this map earlier. I think in general, this map's been quite entertaining. It does have the gold bases blocked by towers which can be destroyed by rocks. I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but basically the tower blocks the gold. To take the gold, you have to knock down this set of rocks, which kills off the tower. Then you have to kill off the rocks and you can take the gold. But then the tower is gone, so a very kind of unique part of the map. Otherwise, in terms of the macro games, it's been pretty cool. I feel like the one thing that's been a bit uninteresting is maybe we saw earlier kind of one player expand like this way, and then the other player expand this way. And so we were basically just running through like a direct line on the map. And there's one thing that stood out to me with Ryung Classic, that when the players expand like that, we don't see a lot of interaction elsewhere. I mean, that could have been a cool time to destroy the tower, though, because then your opponent can't see you running through the center of the tower. That's one thing I noticed earlier. Obviously, kind of depends on the expansion patterns, but yeah. Just a note. Neil KJ, I saw you sub and I didn't shout it out, did I? Thank you so much for the 62-month resub. Go MaxPax, go. Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what you meant. Oh, you just meant it as well? Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. I actually think this map has a lot of potential. This isn't so outlandish that it's like not going to be played. And the more the map gets played, the more the players are going to figure out taking the gold bases, denying the towers, etc. I think this map has a very cool chance of being a cool mix-up on the ladder, actually. MaxPax can go Twilight Robo, by the way, to start things off. That's quite an aggressive way to start. Definitely potentially looking towards some aggression early from MaxPax. Fast Blink aggression or a Dark Shrine. Gonna be Dark Shrine this time around. Okay. Usually maps you go DT on or maps have at least some decent space for dropping the DTs into the base with, using the Prism one. MaxPax ends up recalling the Adepts there, bringing those back home. Is it not worth it to have a CC in a not ideal position? It is possible. You could build a CC like here and still mine the gold inefficiently. I don't think it's worth it early in the game. But like later in the game, it could be an option if you want to keep the watchtower. Could be interesting. Probably not, though. I can't imagine the economy is good enough to do it early in the game to justify it. And you have the Nexus building on the side of MaxPax. 3 DTs being added in, so it's about time for going with the Dark Templar making some plays. Widowmine's on the other side though. MaxPax dealing with this pretty decently straight away, pulling away nicely. Oh no 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 no! That Widowmine was about to go into the corner of all of those probes. It was almost a disaster as the DTs in the main base. One goes down. The other just ran back into the scan range. Goes down as well, and the one at the front being blocked by the bunker. Good defense from Kua early on in this first game. absolutely refusing to let MaxPax in at all in these early stages, isn't he? Not letting that happen in the slightest. So yeah, so far so good on the defense there. It's going to be seeing a tank popping out. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, just a couple of probes going down from the mine drop as well. Definitely not where you want to be as MaxPax. You'd like to be the one really dealing some damage here rather than being the only player taking the damage. And for that, I would say that MaxPax is definitely going to end up struggling here just slightly throughout the early stages of the game. So a little bit rough at the moment. Let's see if MaxPax can get back on track. I mean, definitely not game-ending kind of damage, but yeah, rough to not really succeed with the DTs, and especially to lose the DTs, all three of them. Because if you keep the DTs alive, you can at least then use them for Archons and dropping them and still find extra value. But to straight up lose the DTs, I think that is maybe the most damning part of this game at the moment for MaxPax, unfortunately. Stalkers and the Adept heading down to the bottom left. There's going to be seen charge on the way from MaxPax, Stim and Combat Shield on the way through from QS. So everyone's getting into their upgrades. Again, workers going down as the Widow Mine drop has one final dance over in the main base. So MaxPax taking a little bit of additional damage here. Is MaxPax our last non-Korean, by the way, as well in the tournament? Beyond's in the semis. I wonder if this plays Beyond. And then it's Gumiho Creator and Hero Classic. Wow. MaxPax the last non-Korean. It's very uncommon we don't have a non-Korean in the WardiTV tournaments in the top. Koreans just showing up so far today. We'll see if MaxPax can keep the non-Korean hope alive then. I think it's a pretty realistic hope, right? I'd say so. Medevacs will be coming up towards the main, going to lift up a couple more mines. The mines have been working well so far from Cure, have been able to get some good damage done so far. And she's going to fly this one over MaxPax's unit though, so MaxPax will see that it's on its way, and he's going to start sending a couple Stalkers out to maybe intercept. Cure realizing it's not going to be worth losing the medevac for free. He's just going to unload here, and the Prism, yeah, going to have to get out of there. The Adept gets out of mine range, and both players playing decently around what each other are trying to do there. It's just about salvage, and here obviously should be feeling pretty good about potentially going across the map. He's defended very well early. He's traded very well so far. MaxPax's tech is going to be slower than usual. He's on still just charge and blink. First Colossus on the way, but not ready yet. Will not have extended thermal lance even, right? So it does feel like something that will likely be problematic for MaxPax. Let's see if he can find a defense, see if he can keep his Colossus alive long enough to do enough damage. I mean, with the Raven on full energy, it almost feels like MaxPax must pick off this Raven before the fight, because if it has a Matrix for the Colossus and it can double Matrix the Colossus, so it just hits the second one when the first Matrix fades away, yeah, your splash damage from MaxPax is basically nullified. Wow, we're just going to drop the auto turrets to actually help win this fight convincingly. I guess there's no Colossus here, so why save the energy on the Raven? Just drops all the auto turrets, and Q going to come busting through this fourth base location. You're not allowed that, MaxPax, not with the way this game's set up. And are you even allowed to stay in this game? We'll find out right now, because Q is still advancing this attack. We'll stop the siege. The Stalkers blink in from the other side. The tanks go down. The Widow Mines go off on the Stalkers. You could argue that maybe you would have liked to have the mines for the Zealots. Well, okay, MaxPax at least clearing up the splash damage for the moment. Just going to see the medevacs loading up, ready and a boost into the main base. In we go with that. So into the back corner of the main, just going to be ready to unload here and ready to put some further damage in. MaxPax now having to deal with this while still having an army at the front to defend against. We're going to go stimming up toward the third base. In the main, we then see a bunch of Zealots going down. That Colossus probably is going to die as well, if I had to make a guess. I don't think that's going to survive against this little Bioforce. Bioforce over here doing well. We are now diving onto the Colossus too. It's going to go down. 9 probes killed. And Q, okay, losing a few units in the process, but he knows that he is trading much better than MaxPax. And he knows that given time, he is going to outmass MaxPax as long as he keeps that tech from ever getting online. Which, by trading out like this, he is absolutely doing. Widow Mines actually connect onto pretty much the entire army. Even a Colossus getting blown up by those Widow Mines. Wow. I have to take a rewind on that one just to see it exactly happening on the screen. Gonna rewind it definitely because game ends right there. GG's. And that is gonna be our first game going the way of Kira. I want to quickly go back and look at those 3 Widow Mines and look at what they connect onto. That's kind of crazy. These 3. I just want to see. Did they actually blow up everything? Yeah, they actually did. Oh, that's kind of fun. That's kind of unfortunate, but kind of funny as well. It's very rare that that happens, right? So, yeah, that was. It was just off screen, so I just wanted to go back and double check it. All right, up a game in the top right-hand corner. The blue Terran player is Cure. Taking on in the bottom left, our red Protoss player MaxPax, and we've got an SCV on the map early, looking to proxy, and that is Cure's opening here as he heads down to the bottom left. Away we go. So, it's going to be a very nearby proxy racks to the main base at least, so obviously you're going to utilize that Reaper jump up spot, and I guess it kind of makes sense. It's quite far out and around the corner, but still right next to the main. You could maybe, in a wild world, tell me that you potentially could see the chance of a, you know, some sort of chance or possibility of seeing a lift into the main base with the barracks as well. I don't think that's really a thing nowadays, but can you imagine Kira brings back the proxy in-base ghost rush or something just for this? I'd lose my mind. I think that'd be sick. Let's go! Let's do it! Like I say, unlikely it's gonna happen, as we just have the Reaper setup coming through, I'd imagine, in a moment. So SCV will finish that, and yeah, it's just gonna start the Reaper. Second gas at home, so we are gonna see MaxPax going into, Kira going into a factory before he expands. That's usually just the normal way of playing this proxy Rax Reaper. And look at MaxPax go. Still going to drop the next stand. I mean, as you should, really. You've got the Cybercore first as well, so you should be pretty safe. He is going to bypass the Zealot, though. And that's interesting, because to me, MaxPax is not always the kind of player to bypass a Zealot. Because MaxPax quite likes to get across the map early. He likes to be aggressive. He likes to get in your opponent's face. So, to me, him kind of saying, oh, yeah, I'm not going to... You know, I'm going to skip the Zealot. It's kind of weird, because usually he gets a Zealot anyways, because he feels like even if it's not great on the defense, he can use it later. So yeah, kind of intrigued by that, but yeah, it's not going to be the case this time. 3 workers going to go down. Cure delivering some damage here early. 3 workers down. Stalker does get forward, picks that Reaper off, and that will be the end of it. So the Reaper will go down. Yes, guys, new maps. We've had new maps all week long here from the TLMC. You guys want to catch up on them? They're all available in the Twitch VODs. We'll also be having, obviously, the YouTube uploads will be, I think, already started, actually. So if you want to check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WardiTV, you can actually find yourself some of the maps or some of the series on YouTube. We'll be uploading probably about a series a day. For the next couple of days, I'm going to interchange them with a couple of the 2v2 matches we had last week, but... soon, all of the best matches on the new maps will be up on the YouTube, so if you want to check that out, check it out. How are the maps chosen for each map? I assume you mean for each series? I assume you mean for each series, we basically give the players a list of 7 maps. And they can veto from that list of 7 maps. So there's 16 maps in total, so they get given 7. And from those 7, they can veto. And then, obviously, get their map order from it. We typically give players a list of maps that have been played the least so far. So, obviously, as the event progresses, as some maps get played, other maps do not. As those maps don't get played, they get put in a list with other maps that didn't get played. And then they become kind of the picks. This event has been very smooth sailing. Honestly, we've had pretty much all of the maps being played at pretty much the same amount. So as all the maps get played a very similar amount, yeah, it's basically just giving them a list of 7 maps, and we take a couple from each category each time for the most part. Orbital Command going to fly down to the low ground here onto the natural. Maybe seen a few SCVs moving down to the natural there, as obviously Kyo did expand in base initially with his initial proxy. Again, these are all things which are pretty typical of TvP nowadays. And away we go. Are there maps which haven't been played at all? No, every map has been played, I think, at least 6 or 7 times, and some maps have been played 8 or 9 times. So all the maps have been played, like I said, pretty fair amount, and the couple of maps that are starting to streak ahead will be basically probably less likely to be played tomorrow, basically. So yeah, I would say it's been a pretty fair showing of the maps, at least so far. And before tomorrow, we just watch the same map 20 times. I'm just like, nope, guys, that's it, tournament's over. This is the only map we're playing. Players have refused to play on any map but this one. The entire best of 7 finals will be on this map. That'd be pretty dumb. Phoenix is going to lift a couple of SCVs off, and a few Marines coming in to fight those Phoenix around. Got the medevac down the left-hand side, and a couple of mines inside that medevac, looking to try and get into a mineral line and maybe cause some chaos. Let's see if it can find a juicy connection. Wooden mines 1 and 2 will burrow up, and oh, okay, MaxPax. Oh god, didn't look at all. Didn't realize it. 11 probes go down. That's a big, hefty loss. That's expensive, and that is going to hurt. So MaxPax is going to be reeling a little bit off the back of that. Big drop for Q, actually, because MaxPax was up at like 15, 16, 17 workers, I think. Losing those workers puts it in a much more reasonable kind of eco position, considering what you would expect to see in this matchup. So yeah, that actually might have just really been almost necessary damage for Q to stay within reach of MaxPax in this game. Well, Q is starting to push down the right side of the map. Again, it's got that kind of, from the natural, you can kind of push straight down almost in a line to the other side, although we do have a couple of rocks to start mixing things up and to make things a little bit intriguing. A couple of Viking shots onto some Phoenix and Marines coming with this. Can we get a siege onto this base? We'll get one, I mean, it's only one tank, 2 siege. Obviously, the Phoenix should be able to nullify that just by lifting it up and taking it out of the equation pretty quickly. And I think recognizing that, Kira says, I'm not going to stick around here. There's not much for me to gain. He is not on a 3rd CC yet, though, and I would imagine you've got to start building one soon, otherwise you're basically committed to what would be a 2-base all-in. He is still building SCVs, though, so I think he has the intentions of expanding. He puts it in position now with the SCV moving in to build it on location, so okay, that helps out a little bit. It being on location just speeds it up by a few seconds, if nothing else. Down the bottom side, he's going to pick off the pylon and go back around the right. This army still just sat out over there. Going to see what it can do as we have a Ghost Academy, a couple extra racks all being brought into play. A couple of additional Widow Mines being brought up as well. And yeah, battery over here just chilling on the side of the Nexus for the moment. Double Ridge Vespine guys are on this map on these bases. We've seen them taken a couple of times during the tournament. So they've come through once or twice. Something to keep in mind, just the fact that they are there, right? Something to keep your eyes on is the Bioforce. I'm going to start moving down the right-hand side here as well, trying to see what can be done. Obviously, neither player really looking to attack into the other. It's been pretty passive in that regard. We've seen Kira obviously taking some positions, but never sticking around long enough to force a fight. MaxPax, first time I've really even seen the Phoenix do a lot of harassment. That's a Widow Mine. That could have actually been a lot worse for MaxPax. It blew up on the lower HP Phoenix. If it hit a high HP one, it could have maybe killed it, plus Splash to kill the other. Would have been quite costly. Phoenix coming through, a couple of Widow Mines being picked off. This army of Q continues down the left-hand side. Ghosts popping, enhanced shockwaves coming through. Armor upgrade about to finish as well, and we do see Widow Mines burrowing. How is this going to end up as Phoenix come over. A bio is going to be there. Another Widowmine just going to get burrowed up. And a couple of probes dying off over to the side. So, getting those cleaned out. Widowmine goes off. Zealot's taking damage. Widowmine goes off. A few Phoenix continue to go. Just going to be seen as Zealots. Continuing to press on forward here. Just going to be seeing the rest of the Zealots. Just going to continue through as well. Into the main base. So MaxPax now starting to attack here in some multiple locations. And this map, you know, I feel like the more I see this map, the more I realize this map's really freaking big, right? Like, it's pretty sizable. Much larger than I expected as we, yeah, I don't know why it's taken me all week to really notice that, but, like, it's a huge map. Oh my god. Those SCVs were about to get lasered, but he decides to recall to defend his base. Instead, he actually leaves the Archons. The SCVs are still getting blown up by splash damage. Uh-oh, well, this couldn't go too well for Q. The reason he recalled is because there was an army over here hitting this base. So, I think, obviously, he wasn't comfortable in fully committing to a base trading situation. Instead, he's very happy, saying, actually, I've done a lot of damage already. Let me just go home before you can really match the damage which I have already dealt to you. Fire Force going to come stimming in. A lot of probes going down. 22 probes now dead. So this base will still die. MaxPax was more kind of coming back down the right side. I don't know if he just felt like that base was more important to protect, or if he just thought this army was long gone. I was just losing track of it, not having the vision on the map to recognize where it had gone to. Oh my god, I can't talk anymore. I feel like the day is dragging on me. Apologies. Alright, well, MaxPax has chased this army out. Overall, still ahead, right, MaxPax? Ahead in workers. Army supply is still pretty even. I like MaxPax's composition a lot, I think, because there's 3 Colossi and there's still just no Vikings or anything to really deal with Colossi. Like, the best answer to Colossi is just hoping you can overwhelm them with a good couple of EMPs. Uh-oh. It's going to be a Terran sandwich here as Protoss comes in from either side, from the right, from the left. Can we make it work? First EMPs went down. One landed, one missed. So that's already been a little bit of chaos on the right side, and MaxPax decides he can't quite collapse in on this successfully. So he has decided to back it up and get away. 3 more Archons on the way from MaxPax as well. It's just getting that going too now. Get that set. Continued in, just going to knock down these rocks. Zealots, Archons, Stalkers, and an Immortal. Just continue through the center as we do have our Orbital Command going to have to lift off, and just going to be seeing the few Zealots over on the right are going to be running away. I mean, you've just got Kira in a whole bunch of trouble at the moment, don't you? Kira just can't seem to find a moment to breathe right now, as his Orbital Command would like to get back in location. It's going to try and get here. Zealots are still charging forward. The Archons as well. Some Colossi shots going in deep onto the Marines. Orbital Command will re-land. We've got the Ghosts threatening maybe an EMP or 2. They still have some energy. MaxPax rebuilding his own 4th base. Obviously, he wasn't in trouble, but having denied this 3rd a little bit just makes this game a lot more comfortable for him. I say he was in trouble. I mean, his economy was obviously slowed. I don't know if he was in trouble, because like I say, to me, these Colossi were always going to be absolute kings of this game, and look at them go. Disruptor to help out towards the end, but the Colossi must have some serious kills. 20, 12, and 4. That's a lot of kills across 3 Colossi, and they put a lot of damage out there, which would have assisted a lot of other kills that went down. This Orbital's going to die without a 3rd base. You've got to imagine that Kira is going to be on his last stand in the next few moments. His army supply isn't really there to counterattack, though, so there's only so much he can really do at this point. I think this one might be done, a done game. Coming up one more time, Disruptor Shot flies. Kira's going to stim away from it. He's not going to leave until he's absolutely sure he can't kill this army of Kira. Of MaxPax, sorry. He tries to get a Colossus there with the Marauders at the front. I mean, it's a good try. It's the exact sort of thing you need to be trying to do right now. The question remains of, is it going to be enough? This depot going down as well. These few SCVs in some trouble. A big EMP onto the center of these Colossi, and 4 SCVs going down. Marines and Marauders still in trouble. Another Disruptor Shot. Boom for a couple SCVs. Well, here we go. All these SCVs going to just pull on in, but they get absolutely wiped. Taken out without issue, and this is just going to be too much. GG's. MaxPax is going to win this game. Wasn't the cleanest of starts. Took some bad mine shots and more, but able to make it work out in Big J Pop. Gonna hit us up with that prime. You got it? Hell yeah. Thank you so much, mate. Appreciate it. You want to be as legendary as Big J Pop? You can prime sub right now. Thank you so much, mate. Appreciate it. In the bottom left-hand side, the blue Terran player is Cure. And in the top right, the red Protoss from Psystorm Gaming, MaxPax. Cryolysis, well, gotta feel that this is likely a bit of a Terran map because people keep referring to this map as it's like Waterfall. And if you keep telling me it's like Waterfall, I'm gonna look at it and say, well, it's probably a Terran map because Terran maps really like Waterfall. And I'm sorry that I keep saying that it's like Waterfall, but that's what like 3 of the players told me on day 1, and it's now permanently in my brain, so I can't quite get rid of it. So, yeah. So there you go. But yeah, I mean, it kind of is. It's short, so it's already got that rushiness to it. It's got this area. It's definitely larger. I mean, the proportions are different, but a lot of the ideas are very similar with this sort of setup here. Obviously, the base counts over here. I mean, I guess we're based in like the corner, like half base here or something, but it does have a lot of waterfallness to it, I suppose. How is Waterfall a Terran map? Well, it's absolutely a Terran map in TvP because you can rush across the map in like 15 seconds. Well, it's like 30 seconds, but it's because it's short and it's quick to push on, and it's easy to siege up onto your opponent's third base of. And I would say a lot of similar things in TvZ. Plus, you can only have so many bases on Waterfall, so even a longer game on Waterfall is pretty good for you in TvZ. Because you can really draw the Zerg out and camp out your bases quite nicely. Is it controversial that Waterfall is not a Terran map? Like, I thought it was absolutely a Terran map in all matchups. Well, proxy action from MaxPax. Pylon on the 6 o'clock, and as he just gets into Chrono Boosted Adept for the moment, we'll see what that tech will be over here. I mean, this feels like just a Stargate. Feels like a Stargate on a weird angle. Maybe to hit the natural instead of the main, just because maybe this side's more likely to be scouted, I suppose. Oh, well. You got scouted immediately anyway. It's just a gateway. I forgot that MaxPax likes to build gateways sometimes as well, right? He's a pretty big fan of just the second gate being proxied. Something along those lines goes quite well for him. Is going to be having our gate coming through and Twilight Council setting up. So a little bit of pressure from MaxPax. We'll delay the Twilight slightly because of getting that second gateway. Obviously feels like he can get some damage done. And if he can do some damage and then get the Twilight upgrade in play, he obviously feels like that's a combination which can be very good for him. You know, kind of one punch then leads to the second punch being that much stronger. As the Adepts do find that SCV kill, so able to pick that off. And these couple of Adepts going to go back toward the ramp. A few more Marines gathering up onto the natural. With the bunker up, going to be a little bit safer, at least from whatever comes out of the proxied gate. And we're going to go Dark Shrine just after the blink. So MaxPax doing a little bit of everything here. Went Dark Shrine in that first game, didn't really hit at all, right? It was a bit of a whiff, honestly. Dark Shrine didn't really do anywhere near what it wanted to. Debs do just shade on forward and just going to be seen our Dark Shrine, like I said, taking along. I mean, we'll have Blink as well on a follow-up here. Marine's already going across the map as Q will look to apply some pressure in this game. Number 3. It's going straight up to the top. Going to begin unloading a few of these Marines. Ourselves an Adept shading by into the natural here and up in toward the main. Depot will raise to block that. No battery from MaxPax. He is... okay, not in too much trouble. 2 more Stalkers warp in. He will have to pull the probes around a bit, and I think if you're Q here, you want to prioritize the mineral line because killing off a Stalker or so that might have Blink in a moment, I feel like isn't as brilliant. Killing off a few probes just feels like a bit more of a guarantee. Yeah, there's the Blink, and this is why I was like, maybe you don't go for the Stalkers, because once they have Blink, they should be able to survive. He got one before Blink, and then he got the second one after Blink, because honestly, MaxPax didn't blink it quite where he should have done. Not bad. I mean, 4 probes and 2 stalkers for medevac and 8 marines is... I guess that's kind of on the borderline of, like, efficiency. Who's it better for overall? You could argue, I guess, Q if you're afraid of the stalker play. First DT denied immediately, by the way. I mean, doesn't do much apart from force the scans, so... Yeah, DT investment not really working out just yet for MaxPax, and I started to get worried, just like I did in that earlier game with the DTs, where it just feels like when you defend like this and someone's opened Dark Shrine so soon, or so early in the game, you've got to start feeling as though as Q you're going to have a huge attack timing to take advantage of. This scan will not land the DT kill. It killed one SCV and is going to just walk out of there, as MaxPax is going to have to turn up the greed a little bit, I think, to really see some success at this point in the game. Get this probe count high, then start to like really push the limit of when you start to really invest into units, and just try and run that line a little bit more one-sidedly than you usually would, and just hope that you don't die to the first push of the Terran, because again, when the DTs flop like this, I almost always feel as though you've got to be worried about dealing with that first Terran push. Things will be sieging. We have got Stalkers advancing to the front here and ready to push around for a little bit of damage. Marines, tanks, gonna be in a good place to keep the Stalkers at bay. Another tank will siege. Now Stalkers continue all the way around the right-hand side. Marines will be setting up. Tank fire already coming through. And our Raven just overhead as we go latch ourselves onto this gateway and obviously the pylon as well. Clean this up, and MaxPax will take a momentary supply block off of this. New pylons are building at least. Stim, combat +1, all moments away from being done, and like I said, it's going to be this first big push that I'm worried about for MaxPax. Can he hold on against it? Splash damage is an eternity away. RoboBay is only just halfway done, so we're not really thinking about anything from there. It's just going to be a question of, can Stalker Zealot deal with this? 8 Zealots, 5 Stalkers, ADT at the moment. How many gates? 9. So he does have a lot of gates to warp in from. Let's see if he can make full use of them. We're starting to move up. We do knock down one Stalker already. Looking for another, but not quite reaching it. Anti-armor missile will land on a couple of units. The Zealots, Stalkers, and Sentries continuing through now, as we do have our tanks able to keep this army pushed back. Oh, good zoning from the tanks here. Just again, you arrive so quickly, and now this ramp is going to have Stalkers just coming straight through. Widowmines will go off on Stalkers. It's kind of happened earlier in a TvP as well, where it would have been nice for the Widowmines to go off on the Zealots, not the Stalkers. But can you really complain? I feel like no, not too heavily. Knocks down this Nexus. Robotics facility will be going down as well. Medivacs continue to heal up these few bio units. And those bio units just standing strong. I mean, the natural expansion is dead, so are 17 probes. And I think in general this game might just be dead for MaxPax. Yeah, another opening that just really didn't go his way. On a map that really does, again, if it doesn't go your way, immediately coming across to the other side, you have yourselves an absolute, just immediate Terran push that gets on top of bases. If you can even just see it here, you have cover like big choke points that the Protoss would love to keep on being able to move through, but losing that ability is very costly. Yeah. Fortunately, this does seem as though MaxPax is indebted in this game 3, which means that Cure is going to be on match point here to potentially go into a match point to potentially go into the semi-finals. Would be a TvT against Björn, by the way, in case you weren't aware of where this part of the bracket is from or at. I mean, at this point, are we just waiting for the next push? I kind of feel like, yes, we kind of are. Oh, Widowmine drop. I mean, taking some time. Gonna have the Prism trying to bring a DT in. It's actually gonna die, and there goes the DT. Here comes some Widowmines. Let's see what they can do as we set up here. With the mines unloading, but Widowmine's gonna, well, not actually get blinked away from. Losing a Stalker there. We still got 2 more mines to go. MaxPax has had enough, apparently. He's just gonna tap out. Isn't going to make us wait for the next big fight to come around. And that will... On the top left-hand side, leading 2-1, a map away from a semi-finals. Is Cure. He's always been having good results in these events. He had a finals appearance not that long ago, a couple of these events ago. Lost to Showtime in what was a really awesome TLMC finals. In the bottom right, trying to even this series out. Our last non-Korean player in the tournament is MaxPax. Game number 4. Cure in the lead. MaxPax to bounce back. Why am I saying this is a great blink map? Look at this. I don't know why I didn't notice this before now, but look at the all this space to blink into the main, right? Yeah, I guess you can only really do it from here, but it's a big main base as well. And then you can attack right here with no ramp into the natural. So you can be like, pew, 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 a stalkers, pow, 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 pew, 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 etc. And then you just come over here and blink in the main. And the Terran player has much further to run, because if the Terran's defending here, the Terran has to go all the way up here, around the ramp, and then into the main base to defend, like right around a corner. This feels very good for Blink Stalkers. We'll see if MaxPax will utilize it. Like I say, to me, he's a big 4-gate Blink player. To me, it's the kind of map he would absolutely love to play on, but if he loved it that much, he probably would have picked it as, you know, a little bit earlier on in the series rather than letting it go to Game 4, I guess. Going to be seeing our Twilight Council coming up, and Zap moving around, Warp Gate coming up. Twilight Council just again setting up as well. So all of this coming through for the moment. CC on the way from Cure. 2 Reapers and a Hellion producing as well. So a little bit of pressure will amount early in this game. So well, yeah, a little bit of Reaper Hellion pressure. See how well MaxPax deals with this. See if he's going to be able to withstand a little bit of early damage that will be attempted here from Cure. This was kind of an interesting first trade. Adept goes down for a Hellion. And you still have the Reapers then to kind of play around with. And a new Hellion showing up, and this next Adept probably does not want to give itself up at all. Was already shading backwards and is going to be safely out of the way before too much trouble comes of it. That's the Adept back at home. Full wall off. Make sure these units can't run into the natural at least. You're going to force them to lift or jump into the main. Which is exactly what the Reapers do, by the way. They jump into the main base. The Reapers are over here, but there's a battery. They decide they can't do enough quickly enough, so they're going to back it up. And meanwhile, MaxPax is adding on 2 more gateways. Blink on the way. 4-gate Blink is going to be his choice, and we'll see just how well it does on this map that I suggested is very good for it, so I guess we will see. Whether that is true or not, we'll see. I mean, MaxPax is one of the very best at going 4-gate Blink, so if there's someone that can make it work, it's him. On a map that looks as good as this one for it, yeah, it should be, like I say, very potent, I would imagine. Extra Stalkers just warping in at the front. A couple of similarities coming through from MaxPax. Robo Facility finishing. The Blink not far from being done either, as our Reaper of Cure goes over the far left-hand side. We have a medevac with a couple mines in from Cure, looking for some damage here down the bottom side. Now, the Prism's on its way. The Blink is done soon. The pressure's going to start building up shortly from MaxPax. Taking some probe losses before this attack happens to a Widow Mine drop could be a very good way for Cure, or it could be a very bad thing for MaxPax, because it could be a great way for Cure to slow this down at least a little bit, because it could also force Warpins back at home to deal with the mines, which would continue to delay the attack. The Reaper Hellion is being, well, brought back around over here and not having a good time of it, being chased down pretty much to death, but it is slowing down the Stalkers. And it's distracting as the Widowmine drop re-targets them as well. And honestly, running away late is bad. It may as well just sit there and do nothing. That is 14 probes dead. Oh no, MaxPax. Well, now you definitely need to do some damage across the map. But again, the blink timing's been slowed down a lot. We even get a second bunker up now from Q. He's realizing what he can take damage to. And he's just beginning to prepare for it. Finally, these Stalkers get to the other side, but they're way later than they would have liked to have been. The Prison's been waiting on them for a little while. As we offer the blink up into the main base. First Marine goes down in an instant. We are going to start picking our way through this siege tank. It goes down. Auto turret dropping in to try and help this defense. Prism just about surviving. Going to try and micro the Stalkers a little extra. Looks like we're going to blink out here. Remember, double bunker on the low ground might be a saving grace because, yeah, there's not really much else to defend the low ground. 8 more probes just went down. The medevac will go down now, though, at least. So the Widowmine drop is dealt with, but it got 22 kills. That is way too many workers, and MaxPax down by 5 as, well, here goes this bunker, so it's going to fall. Again, very important we had the second bunker. At least something to kind of stand strong within this position. MaxPax is definitely hurting a bit right now, definitely in quite some issues. Just going to see +1 in stim, still being brought into play. The additional Stalkers open in here as well. MaxPax readying the blink into the main base. In we go, all the Stalkers. And these Marines, well, how much trouble are they going to be in? As the Stalkers just going to say, like I said, big main base. So the tank has to sit back here to protect the production, but it allows the Stalkers to walk right up around the back of the main. Gonna get rid of this depot. Instantly blinks on that siege tank as well. MaxPax takes it down without fear. Well, MaxPax starting to do some of the damage he absolutely needs to find. As an auto turret across the map is harassing. A Stalker's gonna die to the auto turrets. Raven just gonna fly away into the corner as though nothing ever happened. My goodness, I can't believe we just lost a Stalker to an auto turret. That ain't good as our Marines try to hold the ground with a couple of tanks here. But now Cure is holding. It was almost essential that he did all of that damage with these Widow Mines because otherwise, MaxPax would have been storming away with this game. Those mine drops have been the absolute savior of Cure thus far. Three probes going down to the auto turrets. Just going to be seeing this Prism taking a few knocks of damage as well. To the bottom right we go as the Stalkers will continue to retreat. And it looks as though for now we're going to be done. Factory will take its chance to swap to a reactor. Obviously, Tech Lab production for the tanks is nice, but as charge bots come up, typically mines fill a larger role and are less, usually more necessary in the TvP than further tank production. Storm's done as well, so MaxPax has that available to him. So that's going to be a splash of choice. It avoids the Robotech kind of completely. Obviously has a Robo, but doesn't go Robo Bay at all. So just going to go Storm here as his option. I don't hate it. He's on a later third base. I feel like Q has been kind of slowed down a lot as well, though, so there's not a lot of pre-Storm timings that can hit, which is usually the biggest issue with Storm. Is going Storm, there's just a lot of times you can die in the game before Storm is really ready. So that at least is not really going to be here this time around, as we do have a couple of probes going down. Auto turret again coming in, just a very annoying Raven. Q doing as much as possible. This big map means that without map vision, MaxPax is a little bit blind, and this drop is going to be catching him a little off guard. He does have this observer here that would have spotted it coming in, but it's just moved away. Does it still cover this area? Okay, it does. It was just a good reposition. Okay, so MaxPax does at least see this drop setting up. There's a lot of space here to sit medevacs in if you need to just wait for a while, though. That will probably be the case here. There's the medevacs. Oh, get blinked on Q. Oh my goodness, MaxPax gets 2 medevacs basically full of units. Obviously, Q didn't know there was an observer there, but that was a bit of a greedy drop, right? Trying to get right in the back of the mineral line instead of dropping on the edge of the base. At least dropping on the edge would have been safe, because then the Stalkers can't at least be a certain, up to a certain distance away. Dropping into the back of the main gives more time for MaxPax to jump on those medevacs as well, which is obviously exactly what happened. A little disaster. Wow. Well, Kyo's going to try and maintain map control of the rest of this Bioforce. Heading around the bottom side, probes mining away on mineral lines. Just going to be seeing our battle army coming through. Going to grab this observer as well, knocking that straight down. Oh, blinks forward, gets a medevac too, though. So nice little grab from MaxPax. Stalker's getting good blink forward, dealing some good damage. A few zealots coming around the other side, going to start slicing up some marines and marauders. Our bio units will jump on top of them, clearing those out. We're going to start sieging up further tanks here to try and cover against the rest of this army. First storm of the game, right? We haven't really seen them yet. Coming into play and landing decently, nothing too crazy. More of a warning than anything else. This game has really been a up and down affair. Like obviously the probe losses from MaxPax devastating. The Stalkers really did a lot, and then obviously this did a lot, but maybe not enough. But losing the two medevacs units, I think, really does bring this game to a comparable position between the two. MaxPax is still missing certain things. I mean, upgrades, right, are so late for him. That's one thing he's definitely still reeling, on because of the early game. Just struggling there quite heavily. Our battery sets up. Just going to be seeing our Probably Forge plus one attack all coming through. Up our Nexus into the bottom side. It's going to try and take a fifth base. MaxPax expanding like crazy here, honestly. Very aggressive with the expansions so far, so... yeah, I'm taking a fifth already. Obviously, Q is nowhere near taking a fifth base or anything along those lines, so... a little intriguing, as we do have our rest of our army continue to just back away. Q is starting to push a little bit. 115 army supply to 96. Obviously, you've got to really land these storms right now, but we only have 2 High Templar. We do have a few Archons, but there are Ghosts, and we do have a Colossus, but no extended Thermal Lance yet. I feel like MaxPax's army is such a mess at the moment. Like, it doesn't really have any one thing that it needs to be. They could do with a lot more High Templar, or it could do with a lot more Colossi, or some Colossi upgrades, or anything. Yeah, MaxPax's army a bit of a mess, and Cure... and he is going to start a 4th command center, at least. I was going to start saying I'm a bit worried about Cure, maybe not having enough stuff here either, as we are going to see this fight breaking out. I mean, big stim in. Or was it a charge in, really? I guess charge in, stim response. I mean, Q just kind of stood here and took the damage. Can we get rid of the prison before the warp in? That would have been big, stopping those zealots coming out, but it doesn't happen. So, unfortunately for Q, the zealots get there, but actually it didn't really matter. The Widow Mines actually delivered some big shots at the end, and MaxPax's supply is just completely gone. And it looks as though Q might just have this Matrix as well on the Colossus, so this Colossus is in a world of trouble. It can't help out just yet. Which means the super battery is basically wasted because you've got no way to deal damage while the super battery is active. So it's doing nothing at all. And this actually might just be a road to Q in the semifinals. Well, I think it absolutely is when you're looking at the supplies. But what a wild fight that just sort of broke out of nowhere almost. MaxPax, like I say, he was just caught in a weird place with his army. Like, he had one Colossus in it, another Colossus was just popping. He was waiting on upgrades, and yeah, he didn't have that many storms. Like, if you have 4 or 5 storms in that fight, maybe it's a completely different affair. Having 1 or 2 just really ain't that scary, honestly. Pushing into the natural expansion, Cure is coming in to try and close out this game number 4. A couple more Widow Mines is going to be burrowing up. Another facility taking some shots, taking some damage. This truly is the last few moments of this series, I think. There it is. MaxPax going to say GG's. There's nothing left to stay in the game for. Q is going to beat MaxPax 3-1, and he is going to be the semi-finalist alongside Bjorn on the top half of the bracket. So Q gets to the semi-finals. Congrats to him.